Hi, hello everyone. Can you hear me? Hello everyone. Great. Welcome to another workshop. We're going to wait 1 minute too, okay, so that other people can join to this workshop, and we'll begin shortly. First of all, acting as some kind of introduction, I'd like to say this is a new format of workshop, okay? Some of you might remember what we used to do before, okay? With the workshops in join.me, and with this new format we're trying to include everyone in this kind of lessons, okay? About monitoring, so that we've chosen YouTube as the streaming platform, okay, for this new era of workshops. Hi Jimmy, welcome. And well, as some of you might already know, in these workshops we're going to view some aspects, some points of the monitoring in Pandora FMS. The last year we focused in the most general aspects of monitoring, okay, and this year we want to, or our idea at least, is to try to focus on concrete, on specific aspects, on specific topics, okay, of monitoring. These workshops will be monthly, okay? You'll be able to contribute, you'll be able to give us ideas, propose us topics, whatever you might want, whatever you might need in order to reach a better understanding of this tool, okay? So the workshop today is about basic monitoring, okay? This will be a really short workshop, okay? We will cover the basic aspects of the remote monitoring, okay, through network protocols, and we'll schedule another workshop in the future to view this kind of monitoring more in depth, okay? First of all, as you might know, I don't know how many of you worked already with Pandora FMS, how many of you are familiar with the tool, okay? But I'm going to explain you briefly how does Pandora FMS work and how can we obtain information so that you can have a better understanding of what we're going to view in this workshop. Pandora FMS obtains the information through what we call agents. Okay, the agents are containers of information. Each one of these associated, linked to a specific IP, okay, a specific device. And through these agents we are able to retrieve information from different devices, and we can retrieve it, send it to the central server, okay, of Pandora FMS, which has the task to collect the data, to define the data, to analyze the XMLs that the agents send, and store them in the database, okay? As you might already know, our most used agents, our are the software ones. Okay, with this we install small pieces of software in the devices we want to monitor. Okay, we retrieve any piece of information we can retrieve from these devices through native commands of the system that we've installed the software agent in. Okay, but what about the devices in which we cannot install any software? This is where the remote monitoring comes into play. Okay, with this monitoring, what we do is create the agents, these containers, in the server itself. Okay, so it will be Pandora FMS server, the one that is going to perform the monitoring task. Okay, it will be the server, the one that will ask the different devices through different network protocols about the information they can provide. Okay, we can retrieve this information through ICMP, TCP, SNMP, WMI. It depends on the device and the information we want to retrieve. Okay, so as I already said, we're going to define these agents so we'll be able to retrieve it, to collect all this data and monitor it. Okay. Now, with this, taking this into account, we can see. Excuse me. Okay, yeah, we'll be able to see these different protocols in work. Okay, the first one of them is ICMP. Okay, this is the Internet Control Message Protocol, and it allows us to perform basic network checks. Okay. Such as host alive or host latency. Okay, so we'll be able to check if we can reach a host, if the device is accessible and alive, and we'll be able to determine, to check the time that we are employing to reach the device, the latency, in fact. Okay, so through this protocol we have two check-ins we can perform. We're going to select an agent. Okay, and we're going to work from here. Okay, first of all, when you want to work with these protocols, when you want to monitor remote devices, okay, through remote agents, we'll want to define network server modules. Okay, these are the ones that are going to allow us to retrieve information through the different network protocols. Okay, so we're going to create a new network module. Okay, and it's right here where we're going to define the different type of information, of data that we want to retrieve. Okay, first of all, as many of you already know, we have to define the name for the module we want to create in the agent. Don't forget, the agents are containers. Okay, and the next option where I'm going to show you, okay, the type, is the one that is going to allow you to select, to choose the different protocol that we're going to use to communicate with the device. Okay, as you can see here, and as I told you before, we have here the ICMP network modules. Okay, with Boolean data, true or false, or with latency. Okay, so when we choose, we're going to try both of them. Okay, when we choose one of them, what we're going to define is the kind of data, the type of data that we expect to receive. Okay, I explain myself. If we want to check if the device is alive, okay, through this ICMP protocol, we expect a result of 1 or 0. Okay, meaning that the device is alive with 1, or dead or unreachable with 0. Okay, so this is a Boolean data type. Okay, so if we want to perform a host alive check, will want to choose this type of data, okay? And the next step is to define an IP, the IP or the device we want to check, okay? We just have to set here or to define here the IP that we want to monitor, and that would be all, okay? I'm going to define the name, host alive, test workshop, okay. So these are the steps, these are the parameters you'll need to create a host alive module, okay? The next step, you'll just have to click create, and you'll have the module in your agent, okay? Let's check here, okay, it's right here, okay? Test workshop host alive. As you can see, the color is blue, not initialized, okay? This means that the module hasn't been able to retrieve any data yet, okay? When the agent interval is complete, then the device will report, then the server will receive the information of this module, okay? So let me 1 second, please. That's it, sorry. I think there was a mic open, don't worry, sorry, I apologize. Okay, so we've seen a host alive check. The next one that I want to show you is the latency one. Okay, so test workshop host alive instead of this. I promise this won't take long. Latency, and it works the same way. We'll just have to choose the type of data that we want to retrieve. In this case, latency, okay? The same as before. We'll just have to define an IP, and we'll be able to retrieve the latency that we are obtaining when trying to communicate with the device that we've defined before. Okay, as you can see here, just as before, the host alive is already working, okay? And the latency will work when the interval of the agent completes. Okay, the interval is the time which the agent employs to communicate with the device. It's 5 minutes by default. The server is going to ask the device for the information. Okay, so this is the first protocol we're going to use to perform basic monitoring, basic remote or network monitoring, okay? So, the other protocol I mentioned before, TCP, the Transmission Control Protocol, it will allow us to check remotely if a device, if a system has opened the port, the TCP port, okay? You'll have to define the port you want to check. We'll be able to send strings to check responses and to check if the communication is right or not, okay? So let's see. Network, for example, and the TCP. One thing that I have to say right now, and it's really important, okay? In most of the checks we want to perform in many of the modules we'll want to create, it is vital, okay, it's really important to define exactly the type of data that we want to retrieve. Okay, as you can see here with the TCP protocol, we're allowed to choose between numeric data, Boolean data, alphanumeric data, and incremental data. Okay, and what does this mean? As you'll see in just a second, we'll be able to send commands, strings, okay? So we'll have to adjust the type of data to the response we'll want to retrieve from the device in question, okay? For example, if I send a string that will return another string, I'll have to choose as the data type the alphanumeric data, okay? And the same as before, I'll be able to define an IP, I'll be able to define a port, I don't know, the port you want to check, okay? Depending on the device you want to monitor, one port or another, I don't know. Okay, and right here in this section, okay, we'll be able to define the string that we want to set. For example, we want to send this get HTTP 1.0. Okay, so this is going to send this string to the IP that we've set before. Okay, we'll have to define also the string that we expect to get back. That it might be this one, 200 OK. Yeah. So because this response is a string, we'll have to define the data of the TCP check as an alphanumeric data. Okay, because we expect to retrieve this type of data. And that's pretty much it, okay? Try to remember always to adjust the type of data when you define the agent to the type of data you expect to receive from the device, okay? Right here you can configure any string you might think of, okay? This is just an example. Okay, now we're going to see one of my, I was going to say favorite protocols, okay, SNMP. This is one of the protocols that we use the most, okay, to monitor. It responds to a simple network management protocol, okay. So with Pandora FMS we can launch request, SNMP request, okay, remotely, what we call polling, okay, to devices with the SNMP service activated, okay. We'll have to activate the SNMP protocol in the device we want to monitor, okay, so that we can access the device and we can retrieve the information that it will provide us, okay. We can obtain data such as the status of the interfaces, network bandwidth, don't know, you can imagine. So in each device, sorry, allows us to retrieve one data or another, okay. I mean, it depends entirely on the device. It's not the same information that we can obtain from a CAM, okay, that the one that we can retrieve from a thermal sensor or the one that we can receive from a switch, okay. So it kind of depends on the device that we want to monitor. Okay, I just talked about I just explained the polling, okay. It's the normal monitoring, as to say, yeah. And Pandora FMS allows us to monitor through traps. What does this mean? Okay, the traps are asynchronous operations, okay. We can set traps in the devices we want to monitor, so whenever anything goes wrong, the device warns immediately to the server, okay. These traps won't wait till the agent interval completes, okay. It will warn us whenever anything goes wrong directly, okay, without any wait. To receive the traps, we'll have to activate the listener in the Pandora FMS configuration file, okay. We'll have to activate the console to receive the traps and to check that the traps that we've obtained from the different devices that we're monitoring, okay. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to work with the normal SNMP monitoring, okay, through polling, we have two ways of doing this, okay? As you'll see, the amount of information we can retrieve is huge. So let me explain. First of all, as I said before with the TCP check, we're going to define the type of data that we want to obtain, okay? SNMP network agent, alphanumeric data, okay? In my case, for my example. So we'll have to define once again the IP from which we want to retrieve the information. We'll have to define the port. It doesn't matter which one, okay? We'll want the information for any interface we'll be able to reach. And really important, we will have to define both the community and the SNMP version, okay, of the device. Through Pandora FMS, works with version 1, 2, 2C, and 3. Okay, in case that you're working on or that you want to monitor a device with the version 3 of SNMP, you'll also need the authentication credentials, okay, the user authentication, password, privacy method, authentication method, privacy pass, and security level, okay. This is information that you'll have to have, and with these parameters defined, we'll be able to perform an SNMP walk. Now we'll see what's that, okay? The other vital component for this type of monitoring is the OID, okay? This is the ID of the device that we want to monitor, okay? We'll be able to obtain these OIDs through the manufacturer of the product that we want to monitor, okay? So you won't have any problem to obtain them, okay? So we define this OID here in Pandora FMS console, okay, to point to the device, to the interfaces that we want to monitor, okay? So allow me 1 second to define one example for you. Okay, this one, okay? Now, when we define the IP, the community, the version, and the OID, we'll be able to perform a walk. Okay, as you can see here, we have the data already defined. We'll have to browse for the different metrics that we're going to be able to retrieve from this device. Okay, let's wait a minute. It might take a while. Okay, so as you can see here, these are the different pieces of information. These are the different metrics that we'll be able to retrieve from the different interfaces of the device. Okay, so through this menu, you'll just have to check which metrics you want to receive. Okay, so for example, right here, don't know. I'm going to okay, this one is enough. Okay, opera status. Okay, this module, this piece of information is going to tell us if the interface is operative or not. Okay, so we can check as many of these pieces of information we have here as we want. Okay, and we have when we have them selected, we just have to create network components, as you can see here. And okay, that's it. Well, this wasn't supposed to happen, okay? But it's just an example, so sometimes things go wrong. This would allows us to create a module for each component that we've selected here, okay? That's the way this works. Okay, let me check. I'm going to show you how to monitor through SNMP, okay, through the wizard. Let's see, the result will be pretty much the same, but you know how to do it, so no worries. Okay, You can also create these modules not only in the agent, as you've seen just now, but through this wizard here. Okay, we'll just have to click on the wizard, and we'll have to sorry, to complete the information pretty much as before. Okay, we'll just have to define the IP of the device we want to monitor, the version, the community, anything you might need to monitor. Okay, we'll perform the work in the same way as before, but as you can see here, we'll have different pieces of data, well, represented the same pieces of data, sorry, represented in a different way. Okay, as you saw before, you have a tree view, okay, with the different interfaces and information we can retrieve from them. And here we have those interfaces with the different information we can retrieve in this list right here in the left. Okay, so we'll just have to select any piece of information we might want. These two, for example, we add them to the modules list. Okay, and for each one of these pieces of information, we'll be able to create a module. Okay, let's hope that. Okay, that's it. As you can see here, we've created the modules with the pieces of information we've just defined. You'll have them right here, as you can see, the same as before. They're not initialized, because until the agent completes its interval, they won't be able to retrieve any information. Okay, so this is pretty much as we work with SNMP. I'm going to show you, sorry, allow me 1 second, if you don't mind, the console. Okay, I talked to you about the traps before. Okay, there are no traps defined on the database. Let's check here. Okay, that's it. I told you before that through SNMP we can work in 2 different ways. Okay, the first of them was the polling. The second one of them is the traps. The traps, as I told you before, are traps that we define in the device and that will warn us whenever anything wrong happens in the device that we're monitoring. Okay, when we have the listener up in the Pandora FMS configuration file, we'll be able to understand the information that we receive from these devices, and it will be stored here in the SNMP console. Okay, here we have a list of every trap that has triggered in our devices. Okay, as you can see, with the information about the agent that triggered the trap, the string, the subtype, the timestamp, every piece of information useful for us to detect when and where happened this warning. Okay, you'll be able to define different filters, okay, with status, severity, dates, anything you might want. Okay, so that you can see here all the information received by the traps. Okay, that the traps sent to our system. And this pretty much covers the basic SNMP monitoring. Okay, I want to talk to you too about the WMI modules. These are the Windows Management Instrumentation modules. Okay, so if we want to remotely monitor Windows system, we'll be able to retrieve information to monitor those devices remotely through this protocol. Okay, we'll need to enable this server, okay, the WMS WMS Server in the configuration file, and with this protocol we'll be able to launch WQL queries. Okay, it's it's pretty much some sort of SQL language, okay, specific of Microsoft, and we'll see an example if you give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, I was trying to find an agent, a Windows agent. Okay, I have one here, and this works pretty much like the modules I showed you before. Okay, the only difference, or the main difference, is that we won't have to create a new network server module here. We'll have to create a WMS server module. Okay, in this option you see right here, we'll be able to create one module of this type, and as you'll see in just a second, the configuration changes a little bit. Okay, the same as before, the type of data, it will have to match the type of data that we expect to receive from the device that we are monitoring. Okay, so let's say we're going to receive a string. Okay, and right here you'll be able, or you will need to define the username and the password of the user with which you're going to connect to the Windows device. Okay, we need to be able to log in to that device to perform the queries. Okay, and right here you can see the selector, or the option to define your own queries. Okay, as the one as you see in the screen. It's just an example. You can run any query you might imagine. Okay, as long as you run it against a Windows device, a Windows system. Okay, and okay, before what I was going to tell you, I have to talk to you about the discovery server. Okay, Pandora FMS allows us to create recon tasks to analyze the network that we ask for. Okay, we'll be able to define a specific network, as many networks as we might want, and for each one of them we'll be able to create a net scan. What does that mean? It means that Pandora FMS is going to go device by device in the network that we've selected, that we've defined, and for each of those devices Pandora FMS will create an agent. For that agent, we'll be able to set up a template with basic network checks. Okay, we'll be able to define SNMP monitoring, as you'll see in just a second. Okay, test recon. Okay, we'll need to select a group, a network we'll want to check, and that's it. As you can see here, we'll be able to apply some templates. Okay, such as the basic monitoring, because the recon performs its monitoring remotely, okay, through network protocols. So we'll be able to enable SNMP monitoring, and as you saw before with the version, we'll be able to define the different parameters right here, pretty much in the same way as we did before. Okay, and we'll be able to enable the WMI, and that's pretty much it regarding remote network monitoring, the basic one at least. When we hit finish, Pandora FMS will scan the entire network, and for each device it finds, it will create a new agent. Okay, with the information that we have provided right here. and we'll be able to define also a network map of the scan that we performed. Sorry, it would be pretty much like this, okay, with the different devices, the different relations between them, even the interfaces through which we connect through the different devices, and so on. And just to finish this workshop about basic network monitoring, I want to show you the NetFlow. Okay, this is a tool that allows us to monitor, as the name says, the NetFlow of any network we want. Okay, we'll be able to define which IPs we want to monitor. Okay, which ports we want to monitor, the date, anything to see the information displayed here in this tool. Okay, so as you can see, for each one of the IPs that we've defined for this example, we have the exact amount of data transmitted. Okay, and this is a visual tool, okay, not an operational one. We can work, of course, with information that it provides us, but it's a visual tool. Okay, and this is pretty much it. Okay, I know it's been a really short workshop. For the ones of you that have attended other workshops before, you might be accustomed to spend a little more time here. This was a basic topic. Okay, we'll go deeper in this area of monitoring in the future. Okay, I don't know if any of you have any questions, if you want to propose any topics for the future, if you have any doubts, anything you might want to ask about. Now it's your turn to speak, to ask me anything. As I said many times now, we'll be programming more workshops, okay, more complex ones, workshops about different areas of monitoring with Pandora FMS. So don't worry if you want to see something about politics, for example. We'll get to it. Okay, so I don't know if any of you have anything to say, any questions, any doubts. Okay, as I'll wait a little bit to see if any one of you has anything to say. I just wanted to thank you for being there, for listening to me. Thank you for your time. Okay, we'll see us next month. Okay, I don't know the date exactly right now, but we'll keep in touch with all of you. Please send us any suggestion, any workshop you might want us to do. Anything you might need, you're free to let us know. Please subscribe the channel. Okay, hit like if you like this workshop. And well, seeing that nobody is asking anything, we'll see you really soon. We'll let you know about anything new that comes up. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Gerardo. Thank you very much. Thank you all of you for watching, and see you next time.